Hey, what's up, gang? Ben here with Analog Love Song. Joining you today on Wednesday, we got some hot and fresh comic books. We got Excalibur number 2, and then we also got Marauders number 2. Can't wait to read both of these. I'm gonna go make a pot of coffee and read some comics, and I'll be back with you. Hey, gang, and I'm back. So I've read the issues of Excalibur and the Marauders, and now I'm going to talk about them. So in the Marauders, we open 400 BCE with Apocalypse kind of having his own little mutant island where he's finding all these ancient mutants. And it starts with these twins who apparently their mutant power is that when they're together, they always know where they're going. Their ship sinks, and that's kind of the end of them. Apocalypse, honors them, but he moves on. So cut back to present day, and we got our mutants on the Marauders, one of the Marauders ships. And I gotta say, I'm surprised by how much a Marauders play we're getting in all these series of X-Men. They seem to be a common theme throughout. I thought X-Men would be kind of the premier title, but Marauders seems like it's the main X focus these days, which is cool. So we got Gambit, Rogue, Comatose Rogue, Captain Britain, Jubilee, and Katie Pryde. They get attacked by some Selkies, which look like something that could almost be from The Witcher. These seal-like water people who apparently Morgan Le Fay sent to attack the ship. The reason they're on this ship is to find Captain Britain's lighthouse, which appears to not be around anymore. So they get off the boat to investigate, and they run into this sect of druids who were invisible to everyone but Captain Britain. But these druids, they appear to warn Captain Britain about this sect of magi who are following Morgan Le Fay and who are perhaps they're trying to hunt down Captain Britain and her crew. But some magic stuff happens, and they build this lighthouse, and the very top of the lighthouse is Rogue in her comatose state, and she's emitting all the light. Throughout this whole issue, Gambit's really down about Rogue and her state, and it kind of seems like all three of the main characters in this issue, Jubilee, Captain Britain, and Gambit, they all have somebody who they care about who is in peril. So Gambit has Rogue, Captain Britain has her brother Brian, and Jubilee has her child who she's worried about. And her child is on the island with Apocalypse. And so we go to this next part of the comic where there's a couple of dream sequences, and we see that Jubilee does not trust her child with Apocalypse, and it looks like Apocalypse might even be about to kill her human child. She wakes up, and she's going back to Krakoa to retrieve her kid. We cut to this really cool dream with Captain Britain, where she's following this, it's like a fox or a wolf that has the sword on it. I'm not sure what the sword represents. It might be her latent psychic powers. The sword kind of looks like the sword that she conjures during battle. And so maybe this fox, this wolf, is her mutant power. But regardless, it's leading her somewhere. And they find a statue of Apocalypse. He's surrounded by some musical notes, so it's like emitting some music. And he's holding out plates of fruit. And the plate says, "He will use us, we can use him." And she eats the fruit, and she kind of gorges herself on it. And I'm not sure what the fruit is supposed to represent. I'm kind of thinking it's almost like the fruit of knowledge from Adam and Eve's story, the fruit of good and evil. And so we'll see where that leads. And she can't finish out her dream. She's woken up by Jubilee's baby, who's kind of playing with her hair. Jubilee and Captain Britain go to the top of the lighthouse where Gambit is, and the druids show back up. And the druids are here because they've decided to recognize, Betty as the new Captain Britain. Even though she thinks he's going to come back, they're saying, well, we need someone in the meantime to help protect us. And while they're down there talking, the Coven, who are the Morgan Le Fay's minions, start to attack them. And there's a battle. Apparently the Coven is called Coven Akaba, which is named after Apocalypse. And he says, Coven Akaba were once my human servants, powerful magi, true, but they came to believe a foolish lie, that their magic made them on par with the superior, and I would spare them at the end of days. A heresy. So it looks like I got the two groups mixed up in the beginning. The attacking villainous magi are Apocalypse's former followers, human followers at that. And so it's interesting that he had this other sect who worshipped him because they wanted to be as powerful as the mutants, but he always looked down at them because they were human in nature. And so Betty, she speaks to Apocalypse and says, we don't need your help, we can defend this. And Apocalypse tells her that she's needed in the other world to help rescue her brother because every moment he is there, he's being more corrupted and lost to the magic that has taken over him. So Apocalypse gets to the new lighthouse and he says that he will protect Rogue, that he will protect Jubilee's child, and he has this cool new hammer. So yeah, he's this very paternal figure now who I really like what they're doing with Apocalypse. They're giving him more dimension instead of being this one-dimensional villain. They're revolving him kind of like they've done with Magneto in the past. He's a more complicated figure, and I really like the direction you're taking Apocalypse. But at the very end, they go through this portal, and Jubilee, apparently her son, or her child, has turned into this dragon. Because the dragon is saying the same thing that her son has been saying throughout the issue, which is shoo-goo, like a baby sound. Overall, I like what they're doing with Excalibur. I was very skeptical in this issue. I read Excalibur, the original series, as a child. I say child, like 10, 13 years old. Never could really understand what was going on. I liked Nightcrawler, and so I like to buy the issues just for the pictures and all that. But I like what they're doing in this comic. It's all about magic. Apocalypse's new obsession is kind of with magic, so it's cool. I can't wait to see where it's going. The next issue I got here is The Marauders. And I gotta say, this is my favorite X book that we got going so far. The art's great. I really like the art in Excalibur 2. The art in Marauders is my favorite. We start with this scene with Emma Frost talking to some other sidekicks on the psychic plane. Kind of talking about just some plans that I think they're trying to get her. She's trying to get them to become the Red Queen, but they turn her down, which we've kind of touched on in the previous issue. Then we cut to the scene which plays out throughout the issue of Emma Frost talking to Sebastian, the Black King. He's in charge of the black market for these drugs that Professor X has manufactured, and he's trying to get them to the countries who turned down recognizing Krakoa as an own independent country. But he's beginning more ambitious than Emma Frost would like, and he's selling the drugs to more lucrative markets like rich people in America, for instance, and ignoring the places in Africa where the drugs should be going. So she kind of checks him a little bit, and this scene kind of plays out through the issue. And so we cut to the Marauders fighting that ship that Sebastian Stan was trying to send to America. And on it is the Leaper, who is a pretty kick-ass supervillain. Midway through the battle, Kate Pride, she goes down below the deck to look at the shipments, and the Leaper is there. He is trying to work out a deal with her, saying, hey, there's no reason to destroy these drugs. We'll turn around and take them back to Africa. There's a lot of money to be made here. And she says, no, we got to make an example of you to the Black King because he needs to quit doing this, and we will destroy his money. This new Kate Pride, she's pretty ruthless. She throws the Leaper overboard even after he kind of makes a parlay. Fyro's having a great time in this issue. Iceman's having a great time too. We get this shot of Emma Frost, and it looks like she has a new costume, which I'm digging. Has like the arm thing going on, kind of representing her secondary mutation of the diamond. But in that scene, she tells Sebastian Stan that she has chosen a new white king, as they think right now, and he's none too happy. But she tells him that she did this while she was the only person on the board of the Hellfire Club, and that he really doesn't have any choice because she's already done this before he came back. So we cut back to the Marauders. I think they're in Madapur, which is supposed to be an analogy to Singapore, and they're kind of in here partying, they're getting drunk. They finally meet up with Bishop, and that's the only problem I have with this comic is Bishop's story. I'll be interested to see where it's going, but so far it feels so removed from the rest of the story, where everybody else is having fun, and he's kind of serious, you know. He wants to get down to business. Kate Pride, she invites all her fellow mutants to this tattoo parlor, where Bishop says he already has a tattoo, the M. He doesn't want to get another one. Iceman ain't getting one. Storm says she would never get a tattoo, but Pyro, he is going all out. He's getting a skull tattoo on his face. Kate Pride gives his tattoo artist a ton of money, gives him a kiss. She says it's time to go. And Gateway, since she can't use the Krakoa teleport platforms, they send Gateway there to teleport them to their new ship. And they give you this good shot of Pyro and his new kind of intense tattoo on his face. And they get this badass new boat. It's top of the line, has cannons on it. It's like a big pirate yacht almost. Very cool. And they're all extremely excited to get that new boat. When we cut back to Sebastian Stan, he's none too happy. They're still kind of having it out, Emma Frost and him. And he throws her against the wall. She's like, dude, you just broke this wall now. You're racking up debt faster than you can really pay it off. Are you sure your secondary mutation is not racking up debt? And the last shot we get is Katie Pride as the Red Queen. So overall, great issue, fantastic issue. Really kind of the thesis of this book is Kate Pride and her changes. And she's this rough and tumble character now who I'm just really enjoying what Gary Dugan's doing with her character. It's fantastic. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Being a lot if you gave me a like, if you subscribed. Until next week, see you around.